Guys, welcome to our channel. My name is Esther and this is Q-Est Fashion Hub. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to achieve this gown, the easiest method to achieve this gown. If this is what you want to learn, then keep watching. So guys, the first thing is I'm going to be using this Ankara fabric for this tutorial, and then you're going to first cut out your fabric, okay? Right here I have a rectangular fabric cut out already. Okay, so now the full length of my gown is 36. I want it to be 36 by the time I'm done. So because it's an off shoulder, I'm going to be subtracting 6 inches from it. Okay, so once I'm done subtracting 6 inches, I'll be left with 30 inches. So what I have here, the rectangle that I have cut out here is the shorter part is 30 inches, while the longer part you have to multiply whatever you have at the shorter part times 2. Okay, so what I have is 30 times 2 at the longest part, okay, while the short part is 30 inches. Okay, so now that's the short part, which is 30 inches. So whatever length you decided to work with, if it is 35, you're working with at the short part. After subtracting your off shoulder part out of it, you're going to multiply that 35 by 2 to get your long part, okay, the longest part. Okay, if it is 35 you're working with, so you're going to multiply 35 by 2. That will give you 70 inches for the longest part, and then the shorter part is going to be 35 inches after you have subtracted your 6 inches for the strap, which is the sleeve that you're going to be tying. Okay, once you have successfully cut out 2 rectangle, can you see I have 2 of them there? Can you see? Okay, so for this tutorial I used 3 yards of fabric, but then when I was done I still have that leftover that I brought out the first time. Okay, so now the first thing you're going to do is you cut out your 2 rectangle and lay them on top of each other, right side facing right side, and then you're going to mark the midpoint. So for me, I'm marking 30 inches because I have 60 inches at that point. So you're going to mark the midpoint of that rectangle you're working with. I've marked 30 inches at that part. Okay, now the next step is to bring out your armhole. Okay, so what I did, the easiest method I used here is to divide your back by 2 and add 2 inches to it. Okay, so my back is 14 inches divided by 2 is 7. I first marked 7 inches and then I went ahead to add 2 inches extra to it. So that gave me 9 inches. Okay, so from that midpoint I'm going to mark 9 inches to my right and 9 inches to my left. So if your back is 16, divide your back by 2 inches, which is 8, and then add extra 2 inches to it. That's the easiest method I used to achieve this gown. Okay, so if you are finding it difficult to calculate how the armhole for this gown, just go ahead and use that method. Okay, so once I was done, I'm going to stitch all the way to the end, and then I'm going to stitch from that other 9 inches to the end, and then once I'm done, I'll come back and show you guys the next step. I think once I was done, I just took it to my sewing machine, I stitched to the end and I stitched to the other end. So for this piece that we are going to be using for the strap, which is the sleeve, I have them already cut out, so I'm going to be telling you the dimension I use. So at this point I went ahead to pin it so that it doesn't shift while I'm stitching, and then you have to use 0.75 to stitch. I use 0.75 to stitch it. So for the piece I have 4 of it, and the dimension I use is 2 inches by 17 inches. So if you want yours longer, you can do 2 inches by 90 or even 20 inches. So what you're going to do to this one is to fold half an inch, fold another half an inch in, and then fold it together and stitch. So at this point I was done. I took it to my sewing machine and I already stitched to the left and to the right. And then remember I said I used 0.75 for my sewing allowance. Can you see what I have? So the opening is still open there. I didn't stitch that part. I only stitched to my left and to my right. So those are the pieces. I already joined them together. Fold half, and fold it together again and stitch on it. Okay, so after that I just went ahead to open it for you guys so you can see what I have at this point. Okay, so this is how far we've gone. Okay, so at this point I'm going to fold it back. I folded it back. Okay, now we are going to be placing the first thing we are going to do is to first hem our neckline. Okay, so that part is going to be serving as your neckline and your armhole. So the first thing you're going to do is to fold, cut off an inch and fold another quarter. Just make sure you make use of the allowance you left. Okay, that will be enough for you to hem. So I'm just folding at this point and then I'm just going to start pinning it down. The reason I'm pinning it down so that you guys will understand what I'm trying to explain here. Just pin it down, but then you're not going to sew to the end. You're just going to stop maybe 1 inch after the where your opening stop. Okay, so now I pinned the one part, so any part can be your front, any part can be your back because you have the same measurement there. So at this point I'm going to be dividing whatever I have at that opening. So for me it is 18 inches. I divided it by 2. I marked the midpoint, which is 9 inches. Okay, that's what I have there. That's the midpoint. Okay, now we are going to, but before you do this, you're going to hem your neckline. But because I want to do all of this together, that's what I'm trying to explain. So now to know where you're going to place your strap, which is your sleeve, you're going to mark 4 inches. Mark 4 inches from your midpoint to your right and 4 inches from your midpoint to the left. I don't know if you understand. 4 inches from your right, from the midpoint to your right, and 4 inches from the midpoint to your left. That is after you're done hemming your neckline. But for me, you know, I already folded my own and then I pinned it down. So I'm trying to just illustrate what I'm going to be doing. You see the way I'm placing my strap on that part. So you're going to place it this way and then you're going to stitch it down all the way. Stitch the 4 strap together, like separately, like you're going to stitch it on top. So I'm just pinning them down so that you guys can see what I'm trying to explain. Make sure you are marking the right position so that when you are done stitching, it will fall in the right position. So once you're done doing that, you're just going to grab that part and then you're going to hem it all the way around. You're going to be hemming the 4 parts of the cloth. You hem the left, hem the right, and then you are going to hem the lower part of the gown, and also you're going to hem the upper part. For me, I have a selvage there, so I just folded once and then I hemmed it all the way. So if you don't have a selvage there, you can fold it twice and then you hem your cloth. So I just went ahead to hem. When I was done, this was the final look that I got. So I had to wear it on a mannequin. Can you see how beautiful and cute it is? It is very easy to make. Even a beginner can make this and you can rock it to anywhere. You can wear it to the jacket. You can decide to wear it like this. Okay, so guys, this is the outcome of it on the mannequin. So if you love this tutorial, please give it a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. My name is Esther and this is Q-Est Fashion Hub. Don't stop learning, keep learning. See you in the next one. Bye. I love you all.